Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Entre MD podcast. And we have Dr. Tolu Olabintan here. She is a student from the Entre MD Business School, and she launched her practice recently. How long ago?
So officially July 26th was when
July
we
26th.
Mhm.
So we're like, what, 6 weeks old?
Yes,
Oh
ma'am.
my goodness. Okay, 6 weeks, right? But it is such an incredible story that you have to hear it. Okay. So I brought her on the show, and I'm so grateful that she said yes. And she's coming to share her story, take you behind the scenes, all of that, because I believe that as physicians, we are one business skill away from the life we want. And it's business skills we're missing, and we can learn them. Okay. So Dr. Tolu, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I am honored to be here, Dr. Una. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I'm honored to have you here. This is going to be so good. Okay, so let's track back a little bit, right? So where did you get this desire to start a private practice? Because we're now at a time when less than 50% of private practices are owned by physicians,
Right.
and people are like, private practice is dead. And there's a pandemic going on, right?
Right.
Like, so where did this desire for a private practice in the midst of all these negatives show up?
All right. So if I'm honest with myself, I know that I should have opened a practice for a while. I've known that's something I was called to do. I've had patients tell me, I've had strangers tell me. I've known, I just thought it was something I would do when I'm much older. And then the fear of the burden of responsibility was a big deterrent. So I said, no, I wouldn't. And then COVID hit. I had time to reflect, inflect, backflect, whatever the terminology is, but I had time to really sit back and think. I won't say time, but I was forced to, like, why was I here? And is there something I should be doing? And I had a sense of unrest. And so it was actually a Bible verse I had read where David, and I think you talked about him in the last class we had. And David said in Psalm 56:3, he said, even when I'm afraid, I'll trust you. And then I realized I didn't have to not be afraid to do it. The people who were doing it didn't have two heads. And I just needed to surround myself with like-minded people and just do it. So the realization that I didn't have to be afraid was such a big relief. So I was scared. Now do it. So I was just like, let's do this. And that was really the mindset shift that started all of it. Yes.
Now this is, I just want to stop and acknowledge this because this is huge. It
Yeah.
was big for me. I used to interpret fear as an indication to stop,
Mhm.
right? And then you had this realization like, wait a minute, I can still feel the fear. I can still be afraid. I still go do what I need to do. And it is so, you were right. It is so liberating, right? Like, oh, fear, you're there. As long as you're in the back seat, we're cool. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just stay in the back seat. I'm going to go where I'm going. So that is really amazing. Okay. So you had this realization that I can be afraid and I can still do this. Then what?
And then I realized that, I needed to have a team of people, like people around me who would encourage me. My husband was a big encouragement, but I had a lot of naysayers. Were you thinking, are you crazy? Do you have a good job? I was actually getting paid more during COVID. I had more bonuses. So it was like, almost like, am I really doing the right thing? But I knew I needed to kind of influence who I was listening to. And so it's hard to talk to someone who doesn't understand where you're in about why you're doing, and it's exhausting trying to explain that. So instead, and I will forever be thankful for Chia Goze for this, because she was the one, Fawali, she was the one who introduced me and said, hey, I think you should join this group. And there was also another mindset shift. It would cost me something. Of course, you want to save money. I was worried, like, with the other things I wanted to do. But then there was another mindset shift, invest in yourself. You're one of your most valuable asset. So it's money's a tool. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to do that. I was I listened to the school, the entry MD school. I think you had a
The expo.
the expo. I was
Yeah. So
there.
we had so the listeners have a
Yes.
framework. We had the EntreMD Business School Expo, which
Mhm.
was an event we hosted we had a number of, I think it was 19 or 22,
Mhm.
some number like that, 22 students from the business school share their
Yeah.
entrepreneurial journey. So that's what Dr. Tolu is referencing.
And then I saw my classmate, Dr. Tamara Beckford, there, and I saw them. I mean, they look. I mean, they epitomize what I was feeling. Like, oh my God, I'm going to go do this. It sounds crazy, but I've been emboldened, and I was like, yes, I am going to do this. This makes sense. And then I'll be honest with you, your leadership example, how you teach, you gave value in an event that was free, and it kind of my respect for you went up. And so I was like, you know what, this is something I should do. Spoke to my husband, we kind of did a little balancing of the budget, and I said this was a priority, and I joined. I have to say I've learned a lot from people's experiences, from them sharing their struggles, and from being in the community of people who are going through what I'm going through and are still doing it. They're moving and shaking. I'm like, yeah, so we can do this. Whenever I feel a little discouraged, I go there and look in the school and look at the chats and see, okay, they have challenges too, and they're doing it, and I'll keep doing it. I'll like their posts and encourage them to, and vice versa. So it's like a secret club encouragement, like cyberspace thing. It's pretty awesome, I have to say.
The secret club is cyberspace, people.
Yeah.
That's what's happening here. Now, I'm going to take you back a little bit because a lot of people have this, and I want to kind of normalize it and kind of show people they
Mhm.
can come out of it. So the first time I came in contact with coaching, I'd never heard of it before. I never heard of making that level of investment in myself. It was a strange phenomenon, if you will.
Mm.
And so the first time you're like, okay, get into business school, make an investment in myself, walk me through some of that drama.
There's always well, why would you go spend money, on that? Coaching is frou-frou anyway. I think that's a term someone used. It's frou-frou or coaching. You're just
It's
trying to
woo
mooch.
woo, all of
It's
that.
woo-woo, exactly. But then I said, it then hit me that everyone is a couple of mindsets away from their breakthrough. And I'm
Mm.
like, because I just saw myself change from, I'm not going to open a practice now. I've tried before, people try to help me. I just balked at the idea. But now I'm here and I'm saying I'm going to do it. I said, even that for me was big. So I was like, can you imagine other mindsets that could change and how liberating that would feel? I mean, think about it. You had us do a Facebook Live challenge, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to do it. But after one of our classes, I put myself out there. I actually scheduled it so I wouldn't run away, because then when it was time, the alert would come, you're scheduled to go live. So I did it. And here I am. And people are being blessed by the talks. They're giving me feedback privately. I'm able to use it to help my patients. So I'm like, man, what can I not do? I just need a mindset shift, and there I will be. So, there were hiccups. I'll be honest with you. There were times, when I look at the numbers, I would say, oh my God, does this make sense? Or, I would get one viewer, or I felt like I was doing a lot and nothing was coming back. But, other mindset shifts, just keep doing it. You're doing it to help people. Good will follow. So it was just like one step. And there were days I would have to go back to my inner caucus, the group, and say, hey, I had a rough time, or text someone privately in the group, that this is going on. And they would encourage me back, or I would lean into my husband and tell him, like, you know what, I'm a little afraid. I would actually break down, like, I'm scared that this is bigger than me, but yeah, it was one day at a time, man. One day at a
I
time.
love it. Okay, this is so good. And people, listen, this story only gets better. So now you joined the business school in November,
Yes.
and you launched your practice in July. So this is
Mhm.
7 months later. So in the interim, what were you doing? What was your pre-launch plan? What did you just wait and then you started? How did that
Oh,
play
oh,
out?
oh, no, no, no. So, one of the things you talked about in school is to, what's the word? Like, well, you always have a phrase, like, planning for the business before the business. Like, you
The
don't
business
wait
before the
till,
business.
yeah,
Yeah.
the business before the business. So the idea came, like, why not do telemedicine? Why don't start telemedicine while I get things off the ground? COVID had made things a little bit difficult and things a little bit slower, as far as timeline for getting permits to open the clinic and blah, blah, blah. So we started telemedicine. And then, it's virtual. So you have to put yourself out there virtually too. So you're giving us challenges and, getting the social media and getting Facebook. I'll be honest with you. I know I used to be one of those people who's like, man, look at you being out there on Facebook. Come on now. And then another mindset shift, are you offering something good? You said one time, are you mad about someone trying to advertise selling a purse? No, I'm not. They're trying to, get you to buy. And so I am a good thing. I offer a good service. People need my service. And so I started the Facebook page. I started the Instagram page. I started scheduling lives. I started to ask, oh my gosh, I started asking people things. She did the ask challenge. I would ask, and the Bible says, ask and you receive. I was asking for strange things. I asked someone to come rent out lab space in my building. I wouldn't have asked that before. I tried to negotiate my contract with insurance companies. I asked for support. I went to offices around me, and I would have a little like a little phone into someone and say, hey, I'm a little scared, I'm a little nervous. I've had some rough patches working in a place where I'm the only one that looks like me. And part of that is coming, and he's like, oh, come on, you've got to go. So I would go. And right then and there, I would have the idea that, look, hi, I'm opening the practice soon. I would love to, I'm trying to collect services or a referral base for my patients. Can I have your card? So like I'm doing them a favor. And then after I would say, hey, you want my card too? And they'd be like, yeah, sure. So I just started asking. I said, the worst they would say is no. And I'll go to the next person. So I got challenged to be braver and because I knew what I was doing was good. See, that's the thing. You're offering a service that people need. And so that fuels you to do things to get you to that point where you're able to offer those services. And so knowing that, like, haven't had that epiphany, if you would call it, I was bolder. So I would, and I don't want to make it sound like I did something extra special. I would phone into people to encourage me before I would do something that made me nervous. So I'm not sitting here saying that I did this on my own. It's just I surrounded myself with people who would cheer me on. Yes.
I love it. So people, that's one of your main strategies. You've said it a number of times. This is, so good. Okay. So you started the telemedicine.
Yes.
I'm thinking, I recall you saying, because you were doing the telemedicine and you're working your job at the time, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna need to let my job go because the telemedicine is so busy. Did I make that up?
No, you did not. I was exhausted, and I had to go to my job and tell them, because I thought I would be able to duke it out up till when we opened, but I was so burnt out. We had, patients like double booking sometimes, and it just got really busy. And I told them at work, I said, I can't honestly do both. I was open about what I was doing because I'd hoped to forge a good relationship with them. I didn't want to disappoint my patients there too. So I said, can I go part-time? Initially they said, okay. I said I could offer 1.5 days, half being tele, and they had agreed in verbal. And then when it was time to execute, I asked for paperwork. They had done some research on me and saw what I was doing. And we're like, yeah, either you work more hours or maybe you resign. I said, okay, I'll resign then.
Oh, wow. Okay, so let's track back. Let's say a year ago, what would your answer have been?
Oh man, a year this time. I'll be honest with you. I would not. I would probably have balked. I'm not balked. I would have taken their offer. I would have been afraid as far as, where's the money going to come from? And oh yeah, no, definitely not.
Definitely not. No. So when you took them up on it, like, okay, you guys want me to resign? I'm going to resign. Then what happened?
Okay, so I thought I would. It's so funny. I had a meeting with one of the local offices I'm trying to work or forge a relationship with. And I said, I actually thought I would have downtime to go visit with some of the local. I don't have time. So we're booked. So what I was worried about was that maybe we wouldn't have enough patients and to keep the clinic open. But we're averaging 13 to 20 patients a day.
Oh, okay. Take me back. So at this point, you've been open for 6 weeks.
Yeah, we opened.
But like you just started.
Right.
So where did all these patients come from?
All right. So, there's something you say, put yourself out there, put yourself in front of your where your clients are. And then, oh, no, let me get back. You said the team, you said set up your team. That was a big deal for me. You said make up your team, people who will work with you, for free, who care about you. Some people that you may have to pay. So I did. So I reached out to a local medical assistant school, a medical office assistant school, and I asked if they had people that they could send to me, and they said, "Oh my gosh, we'd be looking for that because of COVID. Not a lot of people have that opportunity to do their externship." So I said, "I'll take them in. I do expect that they're on time and they communicate well, and they treat my staff or my patients with care." And so I've had 3 of them with me now. And so I'm training them in exchange. They're helping me. I had people reach out to me, strangers just email me saying, "Hey, I want to work with you. I want to shadow you." I had nurse practitioners. I had pre-med students. And it was actually a pre-med student who dared me to put a post on a Nextdoor page. She's like, "You're awesome. I think you should." And I'm like, "No, I'm not putting it out there." I did. I got like 30 patients. And they were asking questions. "Hey, doc, would you do this?" And I was answering. I actually saw one today who said, "I saw how you responded to patients' questions." I said, "No, I got to meet her." And then there was the Facebook Live. I had one tell me like you're recommended, like in a lot of places, your name comes up a lot, like you're everywhere. And I'm like, "Really? You're the first person telling me that, but thank you." So I feel like I've been pouring and pouring. I didn't feel like I got a lot of people from the Facebook or the Instagram, but people are being blessed. I tried to stop. I told my mom I was getting tired. She's like, "Oh, no, don't stop. That is what you're doing is." My mom, who's like anti-social media, she's like, "Don't stop. What you're doing is good." So it's putting yourself out there. I mean,
Yes.
it doesn't, you talk about the snowball effect.
Yes.
Keep doing
Yes.
good consistently. It's doing the simple things consistently over and over again. They yield results. You're not going to determine when that snowball happens, but it does happen. And I've seen it for a lot of my classmates. So it makes it even more rewarding. I just pray that people hold on enough to see it, because it can be a test.
I'm going to have you track back and say that again. That is so powerful. I don't want people to miss it. You're going to have to hold on
long enough
to
see it happen. So don't be too hasty. It's work, sometimes good things take time. So just keep at it. Yeah.
This is so good. And I was going to ask you, like, what did you do when you felt like quitting? But you've referred to that many times. I reach out, I lean on my husband, I lean on my classmates. I go back in the Entremdy Business School Facebook group and go scroll through people's wins. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, we could do it. That person was afraid yesterday. Look at what they're doing. Oh my God. I know. I mean, like I could do this."
I see that behind the scenes. I see us, we're vulnerable. We talk about our struggles, but when we're out there, we're shining or we're doing big things. So it's like, and remember, you talked about it one time. You said, you talked about some of the groups you were in. I said, "Oh my goodness, I bet even those, the Tony Evanses, or is it Tony Evans? Tony
Robbins?
Robbins,
the business coach? Okay.
Yeah, Tony Robbins's and the big shots who are doing things. They have their own groups too that they go in and, dig and seek for encouragement. They have their groups. EBS is mine. So yeah." Yeah.
I love it. Do it long enough. And for everybody listening, if you ever have those moments where you're discouraged, I hope this interview is helping you see that is normal. That is the life of an entrepreneur. It's just that the people who are succeeding, they've built a community, right? They found themselves in a community where when I feel down, I know where to go. And really, when she talks about inspiration, I'm telling you, sometimes I just go through the Entremdy Business School and just read through things. I'm like, this is amazing. It is so inspiring. And that's why I'm like, you know what? I'm convinced we have the most positive space on Facebook. I'm like, that's the most positive I've seen. And I'm in a lot of them. Right? It's like the most positive place. And not positivity that's fake, because the challenges are there too. The struggles are there too. The frustrations. Like, so I'm going like, "Oh man, this week I just feel like I want to throw everything away and quit." You know what I mean? We still see those, but then everybody comes out like, "No, I felt that way 2 months ago. And look at where I am now. You could do it." You know what I mean? Like, so that is so good. So I know you did a launch, an open house, and you had your first week. Tell me how you felt after your first week. I mean, first week fully booked. What is that in the middle of a pandemic?
Man, it was just a confirmation of like hard work pays off, and leaning in is important. It was just a testimony to that the hard work and the community and all of that is paying off. You should have seen the grand opening. People that came to support were some people from the local community, people who I had not even met. Some of them were some of the local. You'd ask us to reach out to people around you who you could potentially work with or who your potential clients see.
Yeah.
So physical therapy, ancillary services. So they came out and they supported, and you also talk about relationships, nurturing them. You talk about them indirectly too, but being careful. I had to tell my staff here, I said, when people come in and ask for me, don't be rude to them or brush them off like they're just trying to get, I want to meet them. I want to see how I can, help them. You talk about that too. It's not only about what people can do for you, it's what you can do for them, because people get a lot of, oh, what can you do for me versus what can I do for you? People will remember you. I practice that. And so when I saw the turnout, even during COVID, I was overwhelmed. Those principles, as simple and silly as they sound, they do work. It's the consistency that will in the end show, consistency shows in the end. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
I love it. Okay, so when you think about the future of your practice, what are your thoughts? She's like, hi. I wish you could see her face on video. If you're listening to the podcast, I mean, she's like, like, oh my gosh, Dr. Una, let me tell you.
So I've had, I have patients come from afar, and I've had patients say, you need to open up somewhere else. I've had
already 6 weeks in, you're already getting.
So I'm like, okay. So I'll be honest with you, I feel a little like that has been a little bit of a challenge. So I feel a little overwhelmed because I'm like, how do I replicate? I can't replicate myself, but I know that I can find like-minded people who believe in giving medicine on a platform of sincere care. I can find them too. But that's another challenge. Like we're growing fast. I have 6 rooms and we may need more space soon. So
you're having amazing problems, by the way.
Yeah. So it's good. I'm happy. I'm thankful. It's just it's, I think you said it one class, maybe 2 classes before, always expect challenge. Or was it a podcast? Expect challenge. So you're not like you expect bad things, but expect challenges. That's part of an entrepreneur, and you grow from them. So that's the next challenge. Okay, how do I would want to replicate this at some point soon, maybe a year or 2 at least, or at the most, somewhere maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes from here. So I want to start working on fine-tuning processes and, nurturing a culture, phone manners, or, telling my staff, don't talk this way, or an ambience of peace when people come in, and because we've gotten that feedback. And so that's the challenge. So I see us expanding. I need to hire staff soon. So another provider, I prefer a physician. So
I love it. You're having grown-up problems.
Yeah, exactly.
People wait years to have these problems that you're already having 6 weeks. Okay. So this is great. Now somebody's listening and they're where you were a year ago. And they're like, man, but that's her. I don't know that I can do that. I'm really, really shy. She talks so well. I can't talk like that. It's no wonder she was shining on Facebook Lives. I mean, hear her talk. I can't do that. Dr. Tolu's laughing, just in case you wonder what she's doing. And they're like, I can't start a practice. I can't build a team. I mean, there's a pandemic. I mean, private practice is dead. These are all the thoughts this person is thinking. So what do you say to that doctor who thinks of starting a practice and is terrified?
I'll be honest with you. I'll say this. Look at Dr. Una. See how eloquently she speaks. She's an introvert. She actually had a classmate wonder like what has happened to her, because that's not who they remembered in school days. I have learned that everyone has the capacity to change. So whatever it is you think is a weakness, you could actually grow out of it. To hear Dr. Una speak, and have you seen her talk in the last expo you talked at, over what, 300 doctors?
Yeah, we had 500.
Yeah,
the last Entrepreneur Live. Yeah.
So just because you have a certain personality doesn't mean you cannot leverage or learn a better technique on how to get to where you need to get to in your entrepreneurial journey. So, yes, I am an extrovert. I'll be honest with you, but sometimes I can come off a little bit too intense. So I've had to learn to hone that down so I don't scare kids because I get really excited. Oh, what? So I've
She
learned.
likes I don't scare kids.
Yeah, so I learned to tone it down. And also there's a balance. So I've learned to do that. I've also learned that, learning tact with delivering the truth, because I tend to be open. You can tell when, but I've learned that. So everyone has something to kind of adjust or fine tune. So don't let that be a deterrent. There will always be an excuse to not do what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do, your why. Get your community going. And Entry MD Business School is a great place to start. I can tell you, I mean, I have people texting me and say, "Hey, Tolu, help me with this." I'm like, first, join the school.
She's like,
Trust
yeah,
me.
great
All
text,
these things
but
I'm
join the
doing,
school.
join the school. I keep adding. I've been adding them to the Facebook page. Like join the M3MD Facebook page, and then join the school. I'm glad I joined when I did, though. I'm
Okay,
glad
so
I
so
did.
she's laughing like this because she was one of the founding members. So she has a sweet deal, right?
Sweetie, I'm not giving up on that deal, man. Shoot.
She's like, I have a sweet
I
deal.
could hold on to it like this. Yes, 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 yes.
I'm glad you're in the school though, and I'm so your wins are so touching because they're so real. You know what I mean? Like you are a special human, but it's not something special that made you accomplish this. Like you said, there's some simple things that I'm applying. I have a community that I can lean on. I'm practicing consistency. It's within reach. You see what I mean? Like it's within reach to everybody. And thank you so much for sharing your story, taking us behind the scenes, sharing your doubts and fears and all of that. Because for me, this is the reason why I love to interview people who are in business, because people, it's almost like reading an autobiography, you know what I mean? And people tell you all the things that you go like, wait a minute, there is nothing she said that I can't do. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing she said. And to think you're in six, we were having this conversation just before I hit record. I was like, you know what? I'm not having this conversation with you. I'm going to hit record and we're going to get to this, because she's like, Dr. Una, I don't know what to tell you. We're booked. We're overbooked. I'm like, how are you overbooked in 6 weeks? Right?
We're booked. And you know what's so funny, Dr. Una? I used to be that person that said, oh yeah, they can do it because, they've traveled or they've had courses or they just know it's a skill. I used to be that person.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me
So,
too.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's part of the reason why I love your story, because, and I love that I have the opportunity to share it, because someone's going to listen and go like, wait a minute, there's nothing that Dr. Tolu said that is out of reach. I can have it too. You know what I'm saying? And that, except your sweet deal for the Entre MD Business School, that is.
Yes, yes,
Except that part. But yeah, so I mean, if you're listening to this, there's so many powerful lessons in here. Investing in yourself, and like she said, Entre MD Business School, highly recommended. And this is not a sales pitch. This is the truth. So if you're thinking about, starting a business, scaling your business, you've been doing this, it's not working, you've had this dream and you had it for 5 years and you haven't done anything about it, you should get on the wait list, right? So entremd.com/business, go get on the wait list. Once it opens, get in, okay? And because this is a story, I mean, there's so many stories just like this story. It is so ridiculous. The number of wins we celebrate every week is so crazy. So crazy. The challenges are there, but we're going forward in spite of them. It's so good. And she talked about leaning into a community, right? She talked about her husband. She talked about her classmates and all that. She even talked about, like, even before I go to make all these asks, I would get on the phone with somebody first and then go. And that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, you don't lose points because you got encouragement before you went. You know what I mean? Like, you can do that. I'll tell people, when I started when I started doing Facebook Lives every week, it was the most nerve-wracking thing I'd ever done in my entire life. I was like, oh my goodness, like my face on the World Wide Web and I can't edit, I can't take it back. Like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
And I would literally go to YouTube, pull up because I'm happy,
Happy.
right?
Yeah,
and I'm dancing and I'm doing all this stuff and I'm jumping because I'm a monotone kind of person. I talk in monotone. There's no excitement, and I'm dancing. I'm doing all that stuff, and then right there, I sit down, I'm still like kind of dancing. Boom, I hit go live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Legacy Parent Show. That is the only way I could show up with that kind of energy. I didn't lose brownie points. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I borrowed that, Dr. Wood. I did that too. I
oh,
started
you
doing that
did?
before. I did what you said. I said, you know what? I'll dance a little bit. And then you're like, hi, this is Dr. Olabintan.
And people are like, I love your energy. I'm like, yeah, I borrowed it from Pharrell. You know, and it's fine because it
Yep.
still works. You know what I mean? And now I don't have to do that anymore
Right,
because it's a learned behavior. But in the
right.
beginning, I did, you know, and I just want to say big congrats on everything. And
Thank you.
clearly, this is just the beginning. And, you know, we're celebrating 6 weeks now. I'm looking forward to celebrating 6 months, a year. It's just going to be so wild. Do you have any final words for physician entrepreneurs in general? So this may not be someone who's doing a private practice, but you know, it's a very interesting time for doctors. Never been the level of loss of autonomy or burnout or depression or suicide, or I mean, like, it's just all these things. And someone's listening, and you know, what would you tell them?
I'll tell them it is still possible. You just have to leverage certain tools, community, leaning in, doing your research. And I'll say this though, just because you're meant to do something doesn't mean it's not going to be hard. I
Mm,
have to emphasize that because, it's something I believe I was called to do. I believe God gave me this gift. I thought it'd just be, I'll be honest, I thought, but it's been work. It's had its challenges, but knowing that it's not meant to be easy just because I'm meant to do it is a little bit of a burden relief because
I like
the
that.
challenges are not like earth shattering. They just make you tougher. They make you stronger. I think I'm a little more patient than I've been before. I've learned to appreciate people more. And I'm also big about supporting small businesses because I'm one now. So it'll be hard. It'll have its challenges, but it's so doable. As it was with med school. Med school, you said that before. It was one of the things you said before we started doing the expo. We did med school. It was hard. Not a lot of people got to do it. We gave up on social activities. We missed out on certain events, but we did it. So this will be no different. Just leverage your resources, and Entry MD is a good resource, and you can do it because, like Dr. Una says, I'm rooting for you too. We're rooting for you too. Entry
Yes,
MD
we're
roots for you.
rooting.
You need people rooting for you. That's key. So you got to build that and build it quick. But it's so doable. Yeah. So please don't give up on that dream, that passion that's burning inside of you. It's meant to come out and find expression. Yes.
I love it. This is so good. I knew it was going to be good, but this is so good. People are going like, and where do we find this woman? Where do we find her? Where do people find you?
So we do have a website, www.livingspringmedicals, that's with an s.com. I do have a Facebook page at Living Spring Medicals, and Instagram is Dr. Olabintan. So that's Dr. Olabintan. And if you go on my website, there are ways you can also email me directly. So,
Oh, that is
and I'm
so
also
good.
at the Entry MD Business School. You can
She's
find me
like,
there.
she's like, I'm there. I'm never leaving.
You can
Let me
find
tell you what's happening. As it got closer to some cohort's graduation, I started getting PMs like, um, does that mean I'll be kicked out of the school? I'm asking for a friend. I'm like, tell your friend you're okay. You know, so,
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to be a year old. I get to be a graduate too. Not graduate, but I get to be a master. So I want a
yes,
master.
master.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes. I'm
yes,
looking
yes,
forward to
yes.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for listening. I know that you found this inspiring. I know that you got some, tips that you can take steps on. And what I want to leave you with this is, as you're done listening to this, make some decisions, right? Like, don't just walk away and say, oh, that was cool. No, because I'm here, she's here, we're rooting for you. And we want you, we want to get a message from you 6 months from now saying, you will not believe it. And it started with that podcast episode, right? Like, we want that. We want you to experience change. So I want you to make some decisions. Your decision may be the next time school is open, I'm there. Your decision may be, I'm going to build a community around me. The decision may be, you know what? I've dreamt about that thing for 5 years. I'm putting my stake inside. I'm going to go get that registered today. Your dream may be, I've been on cruise control. Like I own my own business, but I'm on cruise control. Now I'm going to scale, whatever it is. Make a decision, own the decision, okay? And that's where the magic happens. That's where the rubber meets the road, okay? And 6 months from now, I want to be celebrating your wins, your story of freedom, your I can't believe I'm fully booked story. Like I want to celebrate all of that, okay? And that's 100% you. So Dr. Tolu, thank you so much for coming to share your story. This was so good.
My pleasure. Honored, Dr. Una. I'm honored.
I love it. I'm honored too. All right, people. I will see you on the next episode of the EntreMD podcast. Go make some decisions and make some wins, okay? All right.